The Michigan Wolverines are 2-0 and looking really impressive so far. Defense has been dominant, and the offense has looked great with J.J. McCarthy in there, and now he's officially the starter moving forward. Yes, I know that Michigan's opponents have been Colorado State and Hawaii, who are now 0-2 and 0-3, respectively. Colorado State fell to the Wolverines in Week 1, and then they lost to MTSU 31-19 in Week 2. Hawaii started their season in Week 0 against Vanderbilt, losing 63-10. Then they lost 49-17 to Western Kentucky, and then they got crushed by Michigan 56-10. Michigan has looked impressive nonetheless, winning those two games by a combined score of 107-17. Up next for the Wolverines is UConn, another not so formidable opponent. And like Hawaii, they started their season in Week 0, so they've already got 3 games under their belt. Week 0, they lost to Utah State 31-20. Week 2, a win against Central Connecticut 28-3. And then Week 2, they lost 48-14 at home against Syracuse. In that loss to Syracuse, UConn had a whopping total of 202 yards of total offense, and just 105 of that was passing yards. They averaged 5.5 yards per attempt on their pass plays, so I guess you could say it's not a very explosive offense. Last year, UConn was 1-11, with their only win being a 21-15 thriller over Yale. So hey, they've already matched their win total from last season. Not only did they only win 1 game last season, but also their head coach, Randy Edsall, just retired halfway through the season. Now they have Jim Mora as their head coach. Here are some notes from the Michigan Insider on how UConn has been doing so far this season. UConn started ex-Penn State quarterback Taquan Robertson under center in their opener. The former 4-star prospect tore his ACL in the first half, forcing him into season-ending surgery. That same week, Keelan Marion, the team's best receiver, suffered a collarbone injury that required surgery. And all of that came after Cam Brown, the team's top wide receiver, broke his foot during fall camp. The replacement at quarterback has been Zion Turner, a true freshman who had interest from a number of Power 5 schools. The former 3-star prospect is 40 for 70 for 373 yards with 4 touchdowns and 3 interceptions across 3 games. He's also a decent running threat. He had a 42-yarder against Central Connecticut and a 56-yard rush versus Syracuse. Sophomore Nathan Carter is a weapon as the primary ball carrier. He played in all 12 games as a true freshman last fall. So far this year, he's averaging 128 yards per game and has 1 touchdown behind a relatively solid offensive line. His 190 yards on 20 carries in the season opener represented a career high. To continue a theme, his backup Brian Bruton is likely out for the season after breaking a finger and fracturing his shoulder on 2 different events. So on top of being an already not so great team, UConn is also dealing with a bunch of injuries. And this part made me laugh a little bit. The defensive coordinator Lou Spanos took a leave of absence beginning in mid-August for undisclosed reasons. There is no coordinator right now, Mora told reporters when the news was announced, explaining that the defensive coaching and play calling would become a collaborative effort. At the time of this recording, Michigan is a 45 to 46.5 point favorite over UConn. It's safe to say that the Michigan don't play anybody crowd is going to be out in full effect again this week. I think we would all like to see Michigan play some tougher opponents, but at the same time, that doesn't really help Michigan make the playoff again. What matters are wins, and this should be another pretty easy one. It should be another game where Michigan's backups get plenty of action, but before that, we should see a dominant, dynamic offense led by J.J. McCarthy in the first half. I do think it's important that Michigan gets 1 game before they start Big Ten play where they go in knowing that J.J. is their guy, announcing that he is the starting quarterback moving forward. This is what the team's going to look like. Having that clarity, having that distinction is a good thing. I expect that we'll see some big plays. I expect that we'll see some easy runs. And I expect that Michigan keeps their streak alive of scoring 50 points in every game this season. Give me Michigan 55, UConn 10, and another cruise control victory. J.J. McCarthy should shine against the UConn defense that just gave up 305 yards to Syracuse through the air. If you're like me, you kind of hate September Heisman talk, but this tweet from thewolverine.com says that J.J. McCarthy is moving up the board when it comes to odds to win the Heisman. I hate even saying that because I get like flashbacks to 2009 and September Heisman hype for Tate Forcier, so I'm okay with not really talking about it much more. Also, a quick note, Coach Harbaugh said that Donovan Edwards is working through something, so we don't know if we'll see him play on Saturday or not. 5-star quarterback Jadyn Davis visited the Michigan-Hawaii game on Saturday night, and this is what his father had to say about it. This article is from Maize n Brew. Jadyn's father said, "It was a good experience. We got an opportunity to talk with Coach Harbaugh before the game and went through the situation meeting before the game and their process. He spent a lot of time with us and talked about a lot of different things and got a chance to spend some time with J.J. McCarthy's parents and went out on the field. It's not clear if Michigan brought Davis in for this game because it was McCarthy's first start or not, but it worked out either way, and the Davis family took notice. The best players are going to play, Mr. Davis said. That's apparently with JJ moving forward. You see his development. He played in numerous big-time games there last year. For his first start, it wasn't overwhelming because he was prepared when he took the field from his experience last year. They just did a wonderful job. My younger son had an opportunity to shake hands and take pictures with the head coach of the basketball team. That was pretty cool. They did a wonderful job recruiting the entire family to my girls, my sons, and everybody. Mason Bruce says if this wasn't an elite quarterback from the South, crystal balls would be rolling in for Michigan already. But there's still some hesitancy with schools like Georgia and Clemson hanging around, although they may be prioritizing other targets. Regardless, it's likely Michigan leads right now. Go ahead and drop your predictions in the comments for Michigan UConn, which kicks off at noon on Saturday. And as always, go blue.